How about creating your own custom template instead of using Microsoft Word's default? Because anytime you use Microsoft Word, like let's say we're going to use their default fax, it's nice, it's set up and it has its form fields, but let's say it's always going to be from us, Dreamforce. Anytime I use Microsoft's default, it doesn't say Dreamforce in there, and it doesn't have some of the defaults or salutations or closings that I'd like on all of my faxes. So what I could do is I could take another template from somebody else, or better yet, let's use one of Microsoft's default templates and turn it into one of our own templates, or create our own based upon theirs. You can create from scratch, or you can just start from somebody else's template, delete it, make some changes, and then save it as your own. So I'm clicking on the Office logo button, coming down to New, and here's all the recent templates that I've used. But I'm going to come down to the fax template, and let's just pick Microsoft's here. Fax, double click on it. Creates it for me here. Now like I said, I can take anybody else's document or template, doesn't matter, either one, because you can always save it as a template. And the difference between a document and a template is something that you can keep double clicking on and it creates a copy of the template. Because once I type anything in here and I save it, it won't overwrite the original template, which is important to me because I want that kept clean and pure in case if I need to use it for something else. But I could save it as a template, just not as the same name, so I don't overwrite the other template. And we'll discuss more about that later. So for example, in this template, the company name is always going to be me. I'm tired of typing in my company name here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some default changes, basic changes on this, and then save this as Dreamforce's fax template. The address is always going to be the same, whatever the address that is. And like I said, clicking in the fields, phone. In any case, instead of having you watch me come in here and make all the changes to it, you get the idea. There's some things that are always going to be the same. It's always going to be my address, it's always going to be my company name, and it's always going to be from, well, if this is my template, it's always going to be from me. And the number of pages will be different every time, so I don't want to do that. The fax number who I'm sending it to will be different every time. What it's regarding will be different. So at least I won't have to type this in over and over again, my name, the company, and so forth if I create it, make it my own template. In fact, let me just do this real quick. Okay, now that we have all that typed in, quickly did that there, so you don't have to watch me do this. I can save this as my own template now. So anytime I click on the Office logo button to New, it'll always create a copy of this template for me, and I can type over it, and when I type over it and save it or print it, it won't overwrite the original. Now how do I save this as a template? Well, in previous versions of Microsoft Word 2003 or XP, you'd click on the File menu, in this case Office logo, go down to Save As, and of course you can save it right there as a Word template or Word document 2000. The old version, but I'm going to click on Save As here to show you the different types you can save it as. And you can click on the Save As type and you'll notice all the different types that you can save it as. You have Word template .dotx, and you have Word template, the old version 97-2003, which is just a .dot. What are these? These are basically extensions. I mean, we have our understanding as users of Microsoft Word that this is a Word document, this is a Word template. I mean, it tells us at the beginning, but the parentheses tells the computer what this is supposed to be. It's what they call extensions. So this .dotx tells the computer it's a template, and the X is XML, which is a more stable language or format that Microsoft Word 2007 uses. So if you recall back in 2003 in XP, any time that you had a power glitch or something and your document shut down and then you opened it back up and it said, hey, I saved this, I tried to retrieve it best I can. Well, the old versions that don't have the XML, like Microsoft Word 97-2003, that don't have the stable language format, the recovery may not be as clean or as where the new XML format, the added X there for recovery is cleaner and it's a more pure language here, XML. So that's why you could save it as old templates, so older versions of Word can read it, but even if they can't, it'll prompt you to download for older users who are still using 2003, who are trying to read your current version with the XML.doc document, docx, to download it from Microsoft's website. They have a little plugin that they can download that they'll be able to read your documents when prompted to do so. Do them a favor, save it as an older version form. The difference is, more notably so, is that because of the stabilization that you can do fancier things in Microsoft Word with the changing of the colors and different types of colors where you don't have that in older versions of 2003. So that needs something to interpret all of those different changes and those fancier formats that you'll find in 2007 in the docx, anything that has an X extension at the end of it. Okay, like I said in previous versions, you were able to actually come down in here and select the template .dot, but since this since I want a more stabler template format and keep it current with 2007, I'll select template.docx. That's the default for the new Microsoft Word 2007. And it automatically ought to dump me right in the templates folder, but look what folder I'm in. I'm in the training folder. It's not putting me in there. Well, how about if I change it back to just to my regular Word document for Word 2007.docx? It still leaves me in the training folder. Now something's going on here because older versions would actually take you right to the templates folder, dump you right in there, and save all your templates, which would make sense. But I called Microsoft Tech Support and this is broken. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go off on a tangent here. I'm going to click Cancel. I'm going to click on the Office logo button and go down to Word Options. And I'm going to go to the Save here, and look what it says right here into the Save category. It says, look, files that are saved in this format, .docx, Word templates, the default location is going to be the Documents folder, but it's not defaulting me right to the Documents folder, is it? And I could change this and say, well, look, for my templates, .docx, I could change this and say, save me to the Templates folder, and then click OK for this file type, but it's not doing it. There's something that's broken that hopefully Microsoft will update that so we can come in here and anytime we save a template file, the .dot, either the new version with the X on it for 2007 or the old versions, the .dot for 97, 2003 templates, that we can define which folder we want to save it in. Usually 99% of the people want to save it in their templates folder, but if you're the type of person that rather save it on your desktop, you should click the Browse button, click on your desktop, and click OK for this, your templates, and then it'll save it to your desktop. But even so, after you save it the way it is now, it won't go to that folder when you click on the Office logo to save as and choose that template that you defined in that Word Options screen that we were just in. So okay, to keep it simple here, what we're going to do is we're going to say it's going to be .docx. This is 2007's template file. And then I'm going to come in here and call it my spiffy fax. And it's in the templates folder, but I could save it to the desktop, but I'm going to force it to the templates folder. And the reason why I want it in the templates folder is to keep things organized, and also when I save my template in here, next time I click on the Office logo and I want to pull up a copy of my templates because I'm going to send off another fax today, I just need to create this once as a template, and it's easy to find it under the Office logo button here with all the other templates. One other thing I'm going to show you, I could save it right here as my spiffy fax, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And then it says what I'm going to do is I'm going to make changes to your document so it can apply to the new format. Well, that's fine. In other words, the new format's Microsoft Word 2007. You can see up at the title bar it has that X for XML, which is a 2007 change from all the previous versions of Word in 2003 or XP. Okay, so I saved it. I should be able to close out of here. And then, let's say it's a couple of days later, and I want to create another fax I'm going to be sending off to somebody. Well, instead of coming in up to the Office logo and going to New, and then having to go down to the faxes and coming in here and saying, well, I'm going to have to double click on Microsoft's fax here, and then start over and type in the name again and the phone number and everything, forget it. We've already saved this as a template, so because I saved it, I can click the Office button to New. I can come down to My Templates and click on that. And there it is, my spiffy fax document. It saved it right in this little window for me to choose, and all I have to do is double click on it, and it opens it up as a new document. Now if I want to open it up as a template, I could select Template, but when I select Document, it leaves the template alone, and it creates a copy of this as a document. And so if I click OK or just double click on it, hey, there it is. That's fantastic. I don't have to type in Dreamforce anymore. I don't have to type in my address or anything. Just type in the basic things that are going to be changing every time I create a fax of who I'm going to send it to and so on. If I wanted to, I can create another template based on this document here. I can go ahead and click Save As off of my Quick Access toolbar instead of going to the Office logo and then changing this and going down to .docx. And let's call it my spiffy fax 2. What I'm going to do this time is I'm not going to save it in the templates folder, but I am in the templates folder. I'm going to create a new folder and call this my faxes. And then I'm going to hit Enter on the keyboard. The moment I hit Enter, it does two things. It accepts the name in the templates folder, and then it dumps me into the subfolder, my faxes that I just created. So see, I can click on the templates. There's my faxes, and I can double click that. Now I'm in the my faxes folder, and I'm going to dump in my spiffy fax 2 and click Save. So what is that going to do? Well, I'll show you. We just saved this also as a template. Going to close out. Going to come back, and maybe a couple of days later, come to the Office, click New. The whole key is my templates. And look what I just did. By creating a new folder, I created a new tab. So I can organize this. If I delete my folder, then obviously I'm deleting my spiffy fax and I'm deleting the tab here in my templates. In previous versions of Word, you had to have something within your folder. If you don't have anything in your folder won't show up here as a tab in your templates. So that's why I feel it's important to go ahead and save all your templates in Microsoft's default folder, templates, and not on your desktop or wherever you want to save them, because this makes it nice that I can actually come in here and categorize my templates by just creating a folder and dumping them all in there. So for example, if I come on my faxes and I say, well, I no longer want this, I can right click on it and say delete this and click OK. Go back to my templates folder, right click others and delete them, and then when I'm finished, click OK. Of course, I had a template selected, so it opened that up, but I can close out. And then come back, Office to New, go to My Templates, and you see it's gone. I didn't delete the folder is still there, but because I have no templates in that folder, then there's no point of having that tab pull up as another category option of other templates that are in there as well. Now, if you want to override a template, like you want to make changes to it, just open it up as a document if you'd like, or you can select template and double click on the template. It opens it up. You can see it's open up as a template now, but it's got a generic name up at the top as you see template 1, and then just click on the Save As button on your quick access toolbar, and then if you want to override a previous template like My Spiffy, because let's say in here I make some changes like this phone number is incorrect, like it's not 55, it's 53, then I can click Save As and select this, and it gives it the same name. Then click Save again, and it says, do you want to replace it? You've updated your template and you're done. And then you can close out. A couple of days later, you can come back to your Office logo, click on New, go to My Templates, and then it will update, of course, because your new template, you can double click on it, and there's the number right there. Now, if you do want to get rid of that folder, you can always click on Save As and go to your templates, clicking on your templates folder, coming in here to My Faxes, and I double click, nothing's in there. So I can go back up one folder by clicking on the templates before it and right click and delete my folder and get rid of it. So I'm done. And the reason why I can't see my template in here is because look at the default format. It wants to save it as a document, but the moment I say DOTX, it'll show me all the DOTXs where I can override it. So you can only see what you have selected as a save as type down below. So if there were other documents in there, I wouldn't be able to see it unless I selected that actual extension. That's why sometimes you may see files and sometimes you don't. It's not because it's haunted, it's just because you actually have to look through the right spectacles, and those spectacles are the .dlcs to see all the Word 2097 to 2003 documents within your template folder, or anytime you're opening up a window to save or to view other documents within the Microsoft Vista operating system or any operating system. Here's another little spiffy thing that I'll show you before we actually close up on our templates you may find of interest. Remember how when we opened up this template for the first time and it had a little gray field here and Microsoft was telling us type your address here, type your city, state, zip code, phone number? Wouldn't it be cool to actually have prompt fields like that? So when you create a template for somebody who's not familiar with your forms, you could say type your name here, we want your address here. Well, you can do that where all they have to do is click on it, just like Microsoft, their templates, and it selects it and just type over it. So they're called prompt fields to prompt people to take action in that field. Let's do it for the to. So in the to field, let's say, hey, type your name here, or type who you're sending this to here. Click in the to field, and then click on the insert button, go over to your quick parts, and your quick parts is where you're going to find your fields. To insert special types of fields, and the field that we want to insert is our macro button field. Click on the field, and then it's alphabetized under all categories. We're going to scroll all the way down to our M's, macro button, select it. We have the display text here, and we can type in here, please type your name in here, or put the credit card number here, and so forth, where they just click on it and they can type over it. At least their prompt fields telling them what to type in a certain field. Notice down below that we can have the display text, but this is actually a macro, and the macro name is accept all changes in document. Now this is an actual macro, so if somebody actually double clicks on it, it's going to run the macro, and since we don't want any macro to run if a user is accidentally double clicking on this field, we just want them to simply type over and replace the text. We want to get rid of the macro. So to get rid of the macro here, what I want to do is I want my macro button, I want to display my text, but I don't want the macro to run. Click on the field codes, and you see where it says macro button, accept all changes. What we want to do is we want to select this and delete it and replace it with the word none, and then hit the space bar. You can type anything you want as long as it's not listed in the macro name, so it runs that macro. And when we go back to hiding the codes here, it has it all listed here. Just make sure you don't type any of the names here, because it's going to run the macro. So I'm going to come back to my fields, And I'm going to just type in, like I said, I can type in KK because I don't think that's a macro for my initials here. Before I do that, I want to come back to hide my codes and type in my display text. I want to say yo, your, and then do my field codes, because then it still pulls up except all changes, but I don't want it to have all changes. I want to say none and click OK. Now if you get something that it doesn't show, yo type your name here, it looks like it's crunched. It just basically means that you can't display the text you want it to show. If I click and drag, because the cell is so small here, you can see it says display text. I'm going to keep clicking and dragging. Cannot span this cell, and then the moment the cell's large enough, it actually displays my text. Kind of like Microsoft Excel. If it can't be seen because the cell's too small, and this is a table, when I click on the table, you can click on the selector of the table in the upper left hand corner. It selects the table. Then you just need to stretch the cell out, maybe turn on your show hide codes, etc., and then stretch this out just a little bit more so we can see everything. So all you have to do is click on once, and there it is. They can just go ahead and type in their name. Of course, you may not want yours in bold, so you may want to undo that a couple of times, select it, and maybe do. Keep in mind that wherever you click, because I clicked too close to the 2, it's now formatted in bold. So if I can move my cell around so it's outside, not right next to it like I did here, but outside of it in its adjacent cell, it'll be in the normal text that you have here. So it's important where you click to create your macro buttons. And if you wanted to, a cool little feature is if you want to change your macros, you could always hold down the Alt key and hit F9. And what that does is if there's any coding within the document, it'll reveal the code. It's not your show hide codes up in the paragraph group on the Home tab where you click on to reveal your codes, and you click off of it to reveal your hard returns and so forth. But this is a different type of coding where it tells me this is the macro button, that no macro is going to be executed when somebody double clicks to replace this text here where it says yo, your name here please. And then to turn it back off, you can see the other macro buttons where they can actually check these boxes here as well. But holding down the Alt key and hitting F9 gets rid of them. You can also, when in doubt, right click and say toggle field codes, and right click again to toggle back. Anyway, if you get a little bit more geeky and you want to learn about the codes, then there's the shortcut keys Alt 9, or when in doubt, right clicking to toggle your codes. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.